All right, hello everyone. Now in this class, this video, we'll take up three very important properties, three keywords which affect large portions of reaction mechanism. We're going to talk about nucleophilicity, basicity and leaving tendency. Now nucleophilicity and basicity particularly sound similar, are very related to each other, and so many times the same species can act as a nucleophile as well as a base. Naturally, until and unless we know these terms very fundamentally, there could be some confusion, particularly in a case where the tendencies start competing with each other. So the same species could act as a nucleophile or could act as a base, and certainly we need to know the terms very fundamentally because they are going to affect the nature of the corresponding reaction and certainly the formation of products in several organic chemistry reactions. Let's begin with these two terms, nucleophilicity, basicity, and somewhere down the line we'll see leaving tendency is also related to the two. We'll want to begin with two very popular examples which I might have told you in the past as well, but because we are going to take up substitution and elimination reactions in far more details in the upcoming classes, it's important to recall, revisit some ideas which we might have spoken about in the past. And these two very common examples, all of us know about a halide reacting with aqueous NaOH or KOH, aqueous NaOH or KOH, producing an alcohol. Now naturally Cl minus is gone, Br minus Cl minus from any halide is gone, and the species OH minus, is substituting Cl minus. OH minus is substituting Cl minus. We'll want to call it a substitution reaction. And invariably, a substitution reaction is a reaction where a species acts as a nucleophile. The species acts as a nucleophile. So here OH minus is acting as a nucleophile. And a nucleophile is going to attack a positive nucleus. Generally carbon. It's going to attack a positive nuclei, which is generally carbon. So this is where OH minus acting as a nucleophile carries out substitution. A very similar reaction is when the same halide with the same species, now this time in alcoholic KOH or NaOH will give you an alkene. Now this time again the same species OH minus is instrumental in removing this hydrogen. This hydrogen is gone as H+. This bond will come this way, and this is how this pi bond is going to be formed. And this time I'll want to call this reaction elimination. The difference is in the previous reaction, OH minus was interacting with this carbon, it was going to a positive nuclei. This time OH minus is removing H+, So when OH minus is removing H+, carrying out an elimination reaction, now OH minus is acting as a base. This is when it's acting as a base. So in equation 1, OH minus is acting as a nucleophile, carrying out a substitution, and in equation 2, reaction 2, a halide with alcoholic KOH giving you an alkene. Two very popular reactions, the same species OH minus, solvents are different naturally. When it's acting as a nucleophile, it's carrying out substitution, and when it's acting as a base, it's carrying out elimination. So right away we have seen two differences between the terms nucleophile and base. One, nucleophile is attracted to a positive nucleus, generally carbon, whereas a base will remove H+. In both the examples, the same species is acting either as a nucleophile, going to a carbon, or removing base, but this is the first difference. Secondly, a nucleophile will carry out substitution and a base will carry out elimination reaction. So we have seen two basic differences between a nucleophile and a base. Let's take it up in more details. Now naturally, you will want to copy everything at your convenience. I wanted to begin with, a couple of very simple examples, and then when it's about basicity and nucleophilicity, first and foremost, basicity is a thermodynamic term. Basicity is a thermodynamic term. It's a thermodynamic term. Whereas nucleophilicity is a kinetic term. It's a kinetic term. Every time you have kinetics involved, it's about rate of something. So this is again a fundamental difference. Nucleophilicity is a kinetic term. A stronger nucleophile reacts faster. A stronger nucleophile reacts faster. A weaker nucleophile will have lesser rate. So a stronger or a faster nucleophilicity is in terms of kinetics. A stronger nucleophile will react quicker, whereas basicity, acidity are thermodynamic terms. So a strong acid or a weak acid is not differentiated upon the rate at which it gives H+. You might recall a strong acid will give you more H+. A strong base will react with more H+. So a strong acid will give you more H+, a weak acid will give you less H+. So it's to the extent the property is displayed. A strong acid means it will give you more H+, ज़्यादा होगा, यहाँ पर ये जल्दी होगा. A strong nucleophile will react quicker, a strong base or a strong acid will react more. It's a thermodynamic term, it's a kinetic term. We'll also figure out in due course that the thermodynamic term is going to be more authentic. Throughout our discussion, we'll want to see how nucleophilicity depends upon basicity. Basicity being a thermodynamic term, I repeat, will be more authentic, will be obtained in a more convinced manner, and we'll see how nucleophilicity depends upon basicity and never the other way. Naturally, the other two differences were, a base will remove H+, it will interact with an H+, to carry out an elimination reaction, and the same species acting as a nucleophile will get attracted to or attached to a positive nuclei, which I repeat is generally carbon, and will carry out substitution. So these are the three fundamental differences between these two terms, out of which you will certainly want to recall that nucleophilicity is a kinetic term and basicity is more of a thermodynamic term. We'll talk about leaving tendency in a little while, but let's see how basicity and nucleophilicity are related. I did tell you in the beginning, the same species can act as a nucleophile as well as a base. Certainly, to act as a base or a nucleophile, it might need a lone pair of electrons as well. So many times basicity and nucleophilicity are affected by the same set of properties, and we'll start with a note that generally a strong base is also a strong nucleophile. You'll want to keep copying this at your convenience. And as I told you, although we'll know the difference fundamentally, we'll want to begin with a note that generally a strong base is a strong nucleophile too, is also a strong nucleophile. See, I'm talking about basicity first. I'll always talk about basicity first and see how nucleophilicity depends upon the basicity. So a strong base is generally a strong nucleophile. You are told that the anion is generally a stronger base. So between H2O and OH minus, if you know that OH minus is a stronger base, then it's a stronger nucleophile as well. So generally a stronger base is also a stronger nucleophile. Similarly, I can talk about ammonia, I can talk about NH2 minus. Normally, a stronger base is also a stronger nucleophile. Generally, a repelling effect increases both basicity and nucleophilicity. So again, chances are between a hydroxide and an alkoxide. An alkoxide is a stronger base as well as a stronger nucleophile. Because an alkyl group will have a plus I effect, a methoxide or alkoxide will be a stronger base as well as a stronger nucleophile than a hydroxide. So generally a strong base is also a strong nucleophile. We do talk about basicity first. You'll want to keep copying this at your convenience, and we'll take up another rule. Every time you are asked to compare basicities, and again I might have told this in the past, every time we are asked to compare basicities, suppose we are given a set of species like F minus, OH minus, NH2 minus and CH3 minus. Every time we are asked to compare basicity, we always want to think about the corresponding acid. Now, when I write HF, H2O, ammonia and methane, first of all, these are species where the atom bearing the lone pair, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, belong to the same period in the periodic table. Carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, second period of the periodic table. Finding the order of acidity is simple, left to right, electronegativity increases, acidity increases. So this has to be the order of acidity. And I've told you umpteen times, if this is an acid losing H plus, and if this is the corresponding conjugate base, I call A minus the conjugate base. This is a thumb rule. This never goes wrong. Acid loses H plus, A minus gains H plus, So moving forward, it's acting as an acid, and naturally, moving backwards, it's taking H plus, so it's acting as a base. This is a basic rule. There are no exceptions to this. This is a simple rule of any reversible, any equilibrium scenario. If it goes forward to a larger extent, it comes backward to a lesser extent. This is absolute basic. If it's more acidic, then obviously it's less basic. If it's more acidic, then the conjugate base is less basic. So every time we're asked to compare basicities, we talk about acidity first, and the reverse is the order of basicity. Now, when these species are related like, the atom bearing the lone pair, I'll want to just remove this clutter, I'll just want to create some space here. When the species are related like, the atom bearing the lone pair belong to the same period. If they are members of the same period, then the rule is nucleophilicity follows basicity. Yet again, I find the order of basicity first, and before that I find the order of acidity. First of all, I find the order of acidity, the reverse is the order of basicity, and now if they happen to be members of the same period, the atoms bearing the lone pair, the order of basicity is the same as the order of nucleophilicity. This is true for these set of species, and this will be true for all those sets where the atoms bearing the lone pair will be members of the same period. Now this is, say, rule number 2. We'll want to move to the third rule. You will keep copying this at your convenience. And now suppose, from the very look of the set of species, we'll identify the relationship. Now suppose you are given a set of compounds like HCOO minus, CH3COO minus, then you are given phenoxide or hydroxide or an alkoxide like methoxide. Now what is the relationship? The relationship is the atom bearing the lone pair is identical. So it's identical atom. It's the identical atom with the lone pair. Identical atom having the lone pair. Here again, we'll see nucleophilicity will follow. It will follow basicity. So I'll want to obtain basicity first. And to get the basicity, I'll want to go back to the acids. Formic acid, acetic acid, more number of carbon atoms, less acidity. More number of carbon atoms, plus I effect, less acidity. So naturally, I've written it in a sequence. Carboxylic acids are more acidic than phenol, and phenol is more acidic than water, and aliphatic alcohols are less acidic. In general organic chemistry, you are told a plus I effect will make it less acidic compared to water. Aromatic alcohols are more acidic. So naturally, carboxylic acids are even more acidic. Lesser number of carbon atom, more acidic. So naturally, if this is the order of acidity, the reverse, if this is the order of acidity, the reverse will be the order of basicity. The reverse will be the order of basicity, and the rule 3 is, here again nucleophilicity follows basicity. Here again nucleophilicity follows basicity. So this is rule 3 for you. When these species are related like the atom bearing the lone pair is identical, then basicity and nucleophilicity will run parallelly. We will want to move to another set of species. I repeat, you will want to keep copying at your convenience. And yet again, when I write the next set of species, it will be easy to identify. Suppose I talk about F minus Cl minus Br minus I minus. F minus Cl minus Br minus I minus. Any day, HF less than HCl less than HBr less than HI is the order of acidity. Down the group, size increases, bond length increases, bond energy decreases. Down the group, size increases, bond length increases, bond energy decreases. You know HI is the strongest hydrocide. Down the group, it's easier to lose H plus, bond energy is lesser, size is more. It's the strongest hydrocide. Now if this is the order of acidity, naturally the reverse will be the order of basicity. And now there would be something different. When they are related as members of the same group, when there are members of the same group in the periodic table, Now this time nucleophilicity runs anti-parallel. Nucleophilicity is kind of the reverse of basicity. So this time, if this is the order of basicity, we'll want to know the order of nucleophilicity will be the reverse. Every time I'll want to take acidity into account, obtain basicity, and know the rule. The rule is if they are related as members of the same group, then the order of basicity and the order of nucleophilicity will be reversed. And only people who know it precisely would know that I minus is a strong nucleophile, but a weak base. It's a strong nucleophile but a weak base. Even when I talk about elimination, substitution, basicity, nucleophilicity, from the standpoint of reaction mechanism in details, I'll be able to deal with these, maybe in a more skilled and a more elaborate manner. A larger species, is kind of good as a nucleophile but not great as a base. Remember, this is the order of acidity, the reverse is the order of basicity, and then basicity and nucleophilicity run anti-parallel if we are talking about members of the same group. So what's happening for halides? The same will happen if you have species like oxygen and sulfur, nitrogen and phosphorus. So between CH3O minus and CH3S minus, between OH minus and SH minus, you'll see OH minus will be a stronger base, but SH minus will be a stronger nucleophile. Similarly, CH3OH minus might be a stronger base, but CH3S minus will be a stronger nucleophile. In general, moving down nucleophilicity increases. Although basicity decreases because the corresponding acid is going to lose hydrogen more readily. It could be about alkoxide or phenoxide. Between O minus and S minus, naturally S minus will be a stronger nucleophile because this is a stronger base. So you'll want to keep copying this at your convenience. Remember, I've written basicity in the first two cases. In the third case, I've written nucleophilicity. The general rule is down the group, nucleophilicity will increase, basicity will decrease. The two run anti-parallel when they are members of the same group in a periodic table. Now this will take care of all the routine questions. This will take care of all the routine questions. This will take care of all the general experiences, because most of the times the reactions are done in polar protic solvents. The reactions are done in polar protic solvents. By protic you mean a solvent where hydrogen is attached to oxygen, nitrogen, or a very electronegative element. If it's an aprotic solvent, so yet again you will want to copy this first, you will want to copy this first, and this is holding true for all the general cases. This is holding true for all the general cases. This will help you in most of the routine questions, and as I told you, the general reactions. But there is one more catch to the story, and that is, if suppose you are told that it's a non-polar aprotic solvent, it's a polar aprotic solvent, it's a polar aprotic solvent, you will want to know a few like DMF, DMSO, dimethyl formamide, dimethyl sulfoxide. This is formamide, this is formamide, this is formamide. Now formamide is protic, because you have hydrogen attached to nitrogen. Dimethyl formamide is when you are removing these two hydrogen. So here you had hydrogen attached to nitrogen, it was protic. You have no hydrogen attached to nitrogen, it's attached to carbon only, it's aprotic. So when the solvent is aprotic, a lot of phenomena involving solvation or hydrogen bonding cannot occur. Then again some peculiar things might happen, and you will want to again know this. This will be an advanced question. For aprotic solvent, the order of basicity and nucleophilicity will again become the same. So the order of basicity and nucleophilicity are reverse. This is the order of nucleophilicity, this is the order of nucleophilicity. In normal circumstances, a normal protic solvent, but this could also become the order of nucleophilicity provided it's a solvent like DMSO or DMF. Again, this is an advanced concept which you'll want to know. And finally, we can spare some time for another key word, which is leaving tendency. Now, leaving tendency is going to be so important in dictating, all the elimination and substitution reactions. I told you, formamide, dimethyl formamide. You will want to know the names, literally dimethyl formamide. Why it's called protic, why it's aprotic, and in aprotic solvent, things might be peculiarly different. But this is the general case. Members of the same group, basicity and nucleophilicity are antiparallel. Finally, when it comes to leaving tendency, a very popular understanding is leaving tendency or leaving nature is inversely proportional to basicity. Now, what is a leaving group? Leaving group is something which leaves the chain of carbon atoms. Whether it's a halide becoming an alcohol, by a substitution, or a halide becoming an alkene by elimination. See, in both the cases, substitution as well as elimination. This is the leaving group. And the leaving group always goes with its pair of electrons. Leaving group always goes as L minus. Leaving group always goes along with the pair of electrons. Leaving group always departs with its pair of electrons. Basicity is about donating a pair of electrons. Fundamentally, basicity is donating a pair of electrons. Leaving tendency is, coming out with that pair of electron. So naturally, the two tendencies are antagonistic. The two tendencies are absolutely opposite in nature. Basicity is about donating a pair of electrons. Leaving tendency is about coming out with that pair of electrons. So when it's about leaving tendency, you'll again want to get the order of basicity. You'll want to get the order of basicity, and the reverse will be the order of leaving tendency. The two properties are absolutely antagonistic. Base lone pair donate करता है, leaving group lone pair लेके बाहर निकलता है. It's a leaving group. So everything which makes a base a stronger base will make a leaving group a poorer leaving group. A very popular statement will be a strong base is a poor leaving group and vice versa. A strong base is a poor leaving group and vice versa. A strong base is a poor leaving group. A strong base is a poor leaving group and vice versa. A strong base is a poor leaving group and vice versa. It's going to be a very popular adage. Now, a strong base is a poor leaving group. So naturally, something which helps acidity, and any day a minus I minus R effect, a minus I minus R effect which promotes acidity, would naturally decrease basicity and would make it a better leaving group. So minus I minus R effect increases leaving tendency. Minus I minus R effect increases leaving tendency. Like you would have known, CS3COO minus is a fairly good leaving group. It's a fairly good leaving group because it's a weak base, because it comes from a relatively good acid, a carboxylic acid. ये resonance से stable है. It's happy. A leaving group is something, which will happily come out, which will be stable in its own way. It's a good leaving group. But if you add 3 fluorine atoms, now naturally, a lot of organic chemistry is learned fundamentally. If you think logically, a leaving group has to come out with its pair of electrons. So any kind of minus I effect, pulling effect, any kind of withdrawing effect will help in coming out with that pair of electron. So this is a good leaving group, but CF3COO minus is an even better leaving group. Minus I minus R effect increases leaving tendency. A stronger base is a poor leaving group. Are some facts which you'll want to know, we'll want to recall. Again, for a group to be a good leaving group, it needs to be stable. You need to copy all of this. You need to keep copying all of this. You can pause the video and copy this. But as I told you, fundamentally, a good leaving group needs to be stable. And naturally, very stable molecules, very stable compounds are going to be very good leaving groups. So many organic reactions, you'll find nitrogen coming out. Nitrogen is very stable. Almost 80% of the atmosphere is nitrogen. Dehydration, decarboxylation are very good, very common methods. Dehydration, water is a very good leaving group. It's needless to say, water is a very stable compound. 3/4 of the planet is water. So something which is there in abundance, something which is a stable compound, water, ammonia, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and then species like RCOO minus, which are stable by resonance, even more acidic, compared to RCOO minus, you'll have sulfonic acid groups, RCO3 minus. They'll give you 3 equivalent resonating structures. You can draw 3 equivalent resonating structures. You can draw this as a structure, you can draw this as a structure, and naturally with this coming down, there are 3 resonating structures possible. You must know that these three structures are equivalent in nature, very, very stable, very good leaving group. They're called sulfonate anions. Sulfonate anions are very good leaving groups. Carboxylate are good leaving groups because it's stabilized by equivalent resonance. It's equivalent resonance, which is stabilizing it. You can talk about the corresponding acid being acidic. RSO3H will be more acidic. Sulfonate will be a weaker base and a good leaving group. So if it's stable, it's a good leaving group. You know about some neutral compounds, very stable and good leaving groups. And finally, before I conclude, I'll tell you about some very popular names which are going to be identified as, very good leaving groups in our journey of organic chemistry. You'll want to keep copying this at your convenience. You'll identify sulfonate to be a good leaving group. And around this sulfonate, there are a few names. There are some specific, very specific leaving groups. OTS minus. This is sulfonate with a para CH3. So it's para-toluene, you can say para-toluene or para-tolulyl sulfonate. Again, it's very popularly called tosylate. Instead of this tosyl group, if you have only a methyl here, it's written as O OMS minus, OMS minus, MS because it's called a mesylate group. It's called a mesylate group. It's called a mesylate group. Mesylate, tosylate, OTS minus, OMS minus. I'm going to talk about their corresponding halides when the time is right. But they're very good leaving groups. They're very good leaving groups. CF3, CF3, SO3 minus, CF3, SO3 minus is a very good leaving group. It's called a triflate. It's called a triflate. Trifluorosulfonate, trifluorosulfonate is called a triflate. So these are particularly popular leaving groups, and every time you see them being a part of a carbon chain, there will be a natural tendency to act as a leaving group and thereby facilitating a substitution or an elimination reaction. So we are certainly going to learn more. And you know, the real fun will begin when we take up the real substitution elimination reactions. But all of this discussion and certainly a very fundamental approach to these few key terms is absolutely indispensable, you know, before making headway into reaction mechanism. I hope this video is going to help you in understanding these basics. This much for the time being. Thank you so much.